So let's look at 4 different SQL queries, which are basically functions that make it much easier for you to deal with SQL databases and SQL tables. The first SQL query is the select from query. And this is pretty simple. It basically says, give me all the values from a certain column from a table in a database. From now on, I'll just refer to this as table. And this specific one says, select all the usernames from the SQL table users. So you see all the usernames here. And again, in this demonstration, everything that's indented here is already copied into this SQL command line thing. So I'll just be running things, but it's identical to what I have in this part. So anyway, select username from users, go, will give me all the usernames. Now, a powerful thing that the select from query can do is this where value equals blank qualifier. So now basically this says whittle down everything in the SQL table to only things that match this statement here, and then return the usernames from that SQL table. So if we look here, the only thing that matches the parameter ID equals 1 is Caesar. So when we run this, it should only return the username Caesar. But if this were, say, cash equals 10,000, cash equals 10,000 for more than one person, so then it should return multiple names. So here, let's see if it only returns Caesar. And it only returns Caesar, so this is a wonderful thing. So now let's look at insert into database table. So this section right here basically says, take the values listed here, denoted right now by question marks because we don't have specific values for them, and then insert them into the columns notated here. So then it's going to correspond based on location. So inside the parentheses, if you have the leftmost one will correspond to the leftmost column, second leftmost to the second leftmost column, so on and so forth. So in the specific example, we have 110, Binky Funner, because pointers are funner, pointer, and 100,000, and that's going to correspond to ID, username, hash, and cache. So if we run this through phpMyAdmin, we should see another SQL entry that's not here right now with the specifications I just gave. And when we take a look at the updated SQL table, we can see that that is indeed the case. Now the third SQL query that we're going to look at is update. And as opposed to insert into, which creates a whole new row for a new entry, update takes an existing entry and changes it. So basically, the general form here states where a certain value equals blank, set the columns of that same row to the new values that you specify in here. So in the specific case, where the username equals Caesar, set the username now from Caesar to Joseph and cash to 1 million because we want Joseph to be rich. And so right now we can see here that cash is 10,000 for Caesar, but once we run this update, we should see Caesar change to Joseph and the cash increase. And now let's just update our SQL table. And we see now that Caesar is no longer up at top, it is now Joseph, and his cash has multiplied. Finally, one last query that we'd like to talk about is delete from. This is a pretty straightforward one, and basically where a parameter is met, value equals blank, delete that row from the database, the SQL table. So I've said here where cash equals 10,000, delete everyone. So right now we should be losing this person, and this person. So let's run it. And see what we get. Now, no one with $10,000 is left in the table. So now, we just have to ask ourselves one question saying, why use these queries? Because we can go here and delete things, we can go here and insert things. However, using these queries, we can actually embed them in a PHP code and have PHP, while running, simultaneously update, delete, insert into, and select data from and to SQL tables, and which is an extremely powerful thing. So now if you have a website backended in PHP, you can just have a form that has PHP take the information from the form and upload it into the SQL table and things like that. And it makes it much more powerful to use these statements rather than to manually click through something such as PHP My Admin. So I hope you learned a lot about insertion, deletion, update, and select in SQL tables. And if you have any questions, please ask.